What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Home Views, and today we're going to be doing a Firearms Friday. When we first started doing Firearms Friday, we said that we were going to be rolling in firearms from other places. So I want to introduce the second guest, this 300 Blackout. There's going to be a lot of different things that you see on the channel featuring this weapon. I'm thinking of at least 3, possibly 4 videos with this gun being featured. This is not one that you've ever seen fired on the channel. The other 300 Blackout that I did shoot, it actually was suppressed. This one is not suppressed, even though the plan for this one is to be suppressed at some point in the future. But the weapon that I did feature was one for my brother-in-law. The weapon that you're seeing here is actually not for my brother-in-law. It's actually for a good friend of mine. You've seen him on the channel before. We've done videos talking about God and communication with God and prayer and stuff like that. He's also a firearms connoisseur, and he has this very nice 300 Blackout. It is a Palmetto build, 10.5-inch upper. I like the blast can that he has on the end. He has a Surefire, I'm sorry, I keep saying Surefire. It's a Crimson Trace light laser combo, hollow sun optic, as well as a magnifier with a brace on the back end. Mag pull 4-in, and he also has a bad lever. So, you know, that works how it works. Mag pull angle foregrip, because, you know, with the shortage, you can't have a vertical foregrip. There's a lot to talk about with this rifle, and this is a pistol build. And you're gonna see this one featured quite a bit. You're gonna see it go head to head with this gun, the Mossberg Shockwave, how I have it configured. This is the current home defense weapon that we're using. We got the big dot attached to the front. We got the flashlight. We got full power buck or low recoil buck in there. We got the pistol brace. We got the ergo grip. We got that Alumahide finish on there. It's on there. And it's actually held up pretty well. I haven't done much abuse to it besides transportation and stuff like that, because I haven't been able to get out and pattern it. But you're gonna see the 300 Blackout go up against this in home defense scenarios. You'll also see the 300 Blackout go up against this one, which is my 16-inch Anderson lower Palmetto upper, like Franken build. Kind of talking about when you go cheap, because this is as cheap as physically possible. So the difference between going cheap on a build versus spending the extra money, and we'll compare, you know, like optics, primary arms versus the hollow sun setup that my friend has. We'll look at the difference between, you know, the vertical grip, the Anderson lower, as opposed to the all Palmetto build. But I guess that's where the comparisons kind of stop between the two, because you got barrel length and you got a whole bunch of other things that are different. But we're going to compare when you spend the money versus when you're trying to save the money. And at some point, you'll see me come out and actually fire this gun, as well as the others that you saw in some possible shooting style videos. But this video here is really just to kind of get you acquainted with the weapon and kind of just show off the different features. I really like what we have here. I say what we have here, what my buddy has. So one of the best features of it is that it's so short and is able to be used in home type situations. This is what he built it for. He built it to primarily be his home defense weapon. Again, 300 Blackout, he wants it suppressed so you could use it indoors without hearing protection. It's not gonna deafen everybody in the house like my Shockwave would deafen everybody in the vicinity. His light setup I really like, because if you're handling the gun like so, you know, you're gonna grab it something like this. It's so easy to just throw your thumb up there and then bam, you're illuminated, you know? You lighten things up. As well as I like the optic setup. So there are no iron sights, front or back of this. I'm an iron sights type of person. If you know from a previous video, I really like iron sights. I have a LPVO on my AK, and I can't get past how comfortable I feel operating that thing with iron sights. But that aside, looking at this setup, I really like this running like this. You know, you have a nice little setup. I like the magnifier here because it gives you the option if you really need to shoot something that's at a distance. This is a perfect setup. You can just flip that over like so, and now I'm magnified times, I think it's a ×3 power, which is more than adequate for something 100, 150 yards away. And then at that point, if it's that far and it's still a problem, you may need more than, you know, a 10.5-inch barrel. I like it. I really like the setup. This optic is so much better than my primary arms optic. And the reason why I say that is because if you look closely, you have a solar option here. So there are no batteries that this runs off of. This is straight solar power. It's charged and it stays on. If you put it down for a certain amount of time, it'll click off. But as soon as you grab it, it's right back on. It's an always on setup. I really like that I feel like that makes not having iron sights sufficient. Once everything gets zeroed and set up, you'll never really have to worry about this thing. You'll never have to worry about batteries running dead. As long as you take it outside every now and then and charge it, you should be good to go. No one should neglect their firearms to the point where this thing never sees the light of day. Like, it should come out every so often. The bad lever is an option for anyone to have on a rifle or a pistol build. But the thing that I kind of don't like is that it changed the mechanics. So here's the function of it. You have your last round fired and it locks open. You drop out this mag and you put in a fresh mag, and the bad lever enables you to drive your bolt home with just tapping it. It's cool, but I feel like it's slightly unnecessary and it takes some training. If I had a bad lever on this and this was mine, I would also want a bad lever on my other AR style rifles, just so operation and muscle memory can function the same no matter what. That's really kind of what I'm getting at. The Crimson Trace thing on the front, I really like. And when comparing it to the Shockwave, I feel like it's superior for this one reason. And I'll roll in some footage right here. But one of the things that I like so much is that you can have a light function on it. You can press it and it'll just stay on like so. Or you can rotate the rotary dial on the top and it'll have the light and laser combination. Or you can operate in the dark and just have the laser. Now, the thing that makes this so good in comparison to the Shockwave is that the Shockwave, I have a brace on it. So that kind of makes it a bit more handy of a weapon to use. But if you don't have a brace on your Shockwave, a laser just kind of really brings that gun out. And a laser on this really makes it maneuverable to me in home defense situations. You can just walk out the room, you know, have it tucked up under your shoulder, and you know what I mean? You can still hit the target that you're aiming at. At least if you're trying to hit center mass, you can still come out, keeping the gun as close to you as possible, you know, braced in all the way you can, and you could turn the corner and fire with that light. I like it. I really like that option. And if I was to put the bird's head grip back on the Shockwave, which I have no intention on doing, I would not run it without a laser. But in the configuration I have it, I would definitely keep the brace on, and I like it that way. Talking about braces, I don't know what style this is, you know? My boy told me he got a kit from Palmetto and everything came in the kit. So you got Palmetto branding on the back of the brace. It is an Anderson lower. I'm correcting myself from earlier. It's an Anderson lower, just like the my other build. But again, Anderson with a lower, I don't feel like is really cheaping out. I feel like when I look at this gun, it might be a quote unquote budget build, but with the upgrades that I feel he's placed on this gun, it takes it out of the budget category and puts it into the lower mid-tier category when it comes to these rifles and pistol builds and AR style weapons. Bare bones, this would still be a budget gun. You gotta take the Crimson Trace thing off. You gotta take the Hollow Sun optics off and just have iron sights. You gotta take the bad lever off. You take the angle foregrip off. That really gives it some maneuverability. You take those items off and you give me just a bare bones 10-inch 300 Blackout with a blast can on the end. It's like, okay, that's a budget gun. But you put those things on there. Again, this gives you, this magnifier gives you some range. This Hollow Sun always on solar power thing gives you a lot of options and a lot of wiggle room when it comes to not using iron sights. This laser gives you a lot of options when it comes to not using iron sights. So it's like, to me, those items elevate this thing from being just a simple budget gun to being, hey, you know, it's kind of a mid-range thing. Like, some money was spent here and it was well spent on good quality stuff, as we're gonna talk about in future videos with this versus my super cheap AR-15 that I did build on my own. So I think that'll kind of wrap up this gun's introduction. You know, you'll see it soon in coming Fridays. It'll be up against the Shockwave for different applications that we are yet to practice and test, as well as when you look at base of a gun. Budgets is where we started, and then when you spend money moving forward, how do you spend it? If you get the right thing, could you elevate a budget gun into a better gun? That's another thing that we'll be discussing with this gun featured with my AR-15 that's on the floor over there. So I think that's where we'll stop today with this gun. Come back and check out more videos. If you like the Firearms Friday stuff, I'm gonna try to get them cranking out a little bit more regularly. As for the people who know me, there's some breaks that we're gonna get, so maybe I might be able to get out and get some shooting footage to roll in with these. Probably not with this one, but I got some pistol rounds and some other things. I wanna get out there and practice with the pistol a bit. As well as I wanna give a big shout out to my boy, I don't remember his primary channel, but I think it's Big Tate Outdoors. But my boy Tate is the one who kind of put me on the idea of, hey man, just do a gun review. And I was like, yeah, didn't think about doing that. So this is one that you're gonna see rolling through probably for the next few Fridays. And shout out to the homie for putting that on my mind. That's all we got here. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart. Come back and check out more videos.